All right, so glad to have everybody here today. I'm looking forward to having a little bit more discussion with Mark here this afternoon about some of the things that they're doing in the UK. But one of the things that's similar with the yield contest in the end is there's a national wheat yield contest. And growers sign up for that. We actually patterned our Michigan wheat yield contest that we have after the national, which we also patterned our Great Lakes again, the way we kind of run the yield contest part of it after that national contest as well. So today, when you sign up for a national yield contest, you're automatically signed up for the Michigan wheat yield contest. Their national contest has a fee that you have to pay. I think it's $100 per entry. There's no fee to participate in the Michigan yield contest. And it's just a way to see growers try some new practices on their farm to try to push those yields a little bit higher. Where are those holes in the program? What are the hurdles? What are the things that I can change on my farm to get that next 4 or 5 or 6 bushels in yield? So we're going to make some changes to the way we run the program next year. I'll go over them toward the end. But what I want to do now is just start with the categories. So we have 4 categories. There's dryland red wheat, dryland white wheat, and then there's irrigated red and irrigated white. And in this year, we did not have any irrigated white wheat, so we won't have any winners in that category. But what I'd like to do is, I don't know for sure how many of all these people are here, so I'll have you stand up, maybe at your seat. We do want to get pictures later, probably over in front of the Michigan wheat display. So we'll connect with you maybe toward the end of lunch or sometime anyway. So, all right, so let's get started. So in the, get over here where I can see. In the dry land soft white winter wheat, we had 2 entries. And in second place was Randy Eschenberg with a yield of 146.2. That's pretty good yield, and that's second place. So in first place is Jeff Crone with a yield of 170.1. So Jeff, I know you're here. Everybody knows you, so you can stand up if you want. Randy, I don't think Randy's here. Is Randy in the crowd? No? All right, let's give those guys a hand. All right, so next we have the soft red winter wheat categories. And this one, I'm going to announce all of the entries that we had. So there's 9 of them here. So we'll start with 9th place. Terry Peters had a yield of 96.2. Terry, I don't know if Terry or Ryan or any of those guys are here or not. I didn't see them earlier, but all right. In 8th place, Terry had another entry. Now that's a pretty sizable bump there, 130.1. So 8th place is 130. That's how many guys have a farm average 130? You're kidding, right? No. I know you could raise your hand. All right, so in 7th place, Joe Jablonski with a yield of 133.5. Joe, are you in the audience today? I haven't seen him, but all right. In 6th place is Pat Felposh with a yield of 142.8. And I didn't see Pat here today, but if you see him, tell him congratulations. In 5th place was Jordan Clover with a yield of 144.3. In 3rd place, with 4th place is Jacob Felposh with a yield of 145.8. And then in 3rd place was Nick Sewin with a yield of 150. And you're going to see his name again. In 2nd place was his uncle Dick Sewin with a yield of 153.6. And then in 1st place was Nick Sewin with a yield of 156.5 bushels per acre. So, and I don't think the Sewin family is here today. So let's give these guys a hand. Okay, we'll move on to the irrigated red. We had just 1 entry in that one, and that winner is Nick Sewin again with a yield of 174 bushels per acre, and that, to my knowledge, well, he's got a higher yield on his farm than that. I think he hit 193 one year on some irrigated wheat. His goal is to hit 200, and he's in the N program, and he's trying to learn all he can. In fact, we're going to go to his farm on Thursday and visit with him. I think he wants to pick your brain and find out how you're getting 246. So, because he's got his eyes set on that. So, but anyway, so let's give Nick a hand. And as I mentioned, we didn't have any irrigated white wheat. And then for the Yen program, we have a yield contest as well. And we handed out our awards last fall, and then we actually gave awards in person to the winners at our wrap-up meeting, which was held just the day before the Great Lakes Crop Summit. But we had one grower that wasn't able to participate, and I know he's here in the audience today, and he doesn't know I'm doing this, so he might scold me after I get done here. But so with the third place award, or bronze award, Rich D'Arcy had an actual yield of 155.9 bushels per acre. And if he would have entered that in the National Wheat Yield Contest, you'd have been right up there toward the top. But as part of the Yen, we calculate a theoretical maximum yield based on how much solar radiation is available to the crop, and then we make sure that there's enough water. So we only limit that yield potential if water is limiting on the farm, which means they didn't have enough rainfall during the year. But otherwise, it's how much solar radiation did that crop season give us, and we calculate a yield potential. So his yield potential was calculated at 148.3, but he actually got 155, so his percent was 105.1, which is a phenomenal. So Rich, I know you're here. Come on up here. He doesn't like to get up in front of people. He's very modest, but he's an excellent wheat grower. So congratulations. This is your award that all the other growers got. Okay, so I mentioned that we're going to have a few changes to the program. So we have this yield contest with the Yen, and then we also have the National Wheat Yield Contest and the Michigan Wheat Yield Contest. For next year, we're going to kind of combine that together and have one set of winners instead of trying to award all of these winners in each of these different categories. So we're going to drop the red and white categories. We'll stick with dry land and irrigated. So those will be the only two categories we have. So we'll have the dry land winter wheat, or irrigated winter wheat, and then we're adding a category that is overall the overarching highest yield out of all of them. So we'll have these three categories for next year, and we'll announce those winners at next year's annual meeting at this time. So everyone who enters the National Wheat Yield Contest will automatically be entered in the Michigan Contest. That stays the same. And everyone in the Yen now will also be entered in the Yield Contest. So that is a change from last year. So far we've kept those separate. We're going to bring them together this year. And then there will be one set of winners that come from the combined Yen and the National. Yeah, so I said that. So does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, one thing before we break for lunch. In the back room here, or in the hallway out there, Michigan Wheat Program has a table with some handouts there. I suggest you stop by and pick up some of the handouts. And I wanted to mention there's this MSU diagnostics form. The Michigan Wheat Program will pay for you to submit samples to get it tested for if you think you have a nutrient deficiency, a disease problem, or whatever you think you might have. You know, if you got a field that has a bad spot in it, they'll pay the sampling costs to do it. They won't actually pay you to go collect the sample. But I know you're looking for a job, George. So I'm sure there's people that would have you come out and collect samples if you want. But so remember that this is one of the perks of being a member or being part of the checkoff program, because all of you pay into the program when you grow wheat and you sell it. So this is just some of the value that they're trying to add back, in addition to all the funding that, research funding, and Jody's going to talk more about that in her presentation this afternoon. So make sure you stop by the booth out there, pick up some of the handouts. There's some good stuff out there, and I think that's it.